Good day, I'm Shanie Boshoff, and today our Brightstar Spark is all about your listening style. So all of us know how important communication is and how often it happens that we cannot understand each other or there's a misunderstanding of some sorts. So listening is an important tool to have. But did you know that you have a very unique listening style as well? So just two fun facts. Did you know that every day you hear at least 450 words, but only remember about 20%? So in today's short spark, we're going to look at the classification of your listening styles, what the value of each is, what it means, and then perhaps some things that you can be careful of. So let's start off with the classification. There's no normal classification or a very legit classification, but it seems to me if I simplify that you get four listening styles: the relational listening style, the analytical one, the task-orientated one, and then the critical listening style. So let's start off with the relational listening style. So this style is all about emotions and relationships and building connections. So these people are very valuable in a situation where they bring the softer side to a discussion or to a meeting. They are very passionate. They can motivate other people. So a very nice group to have. But what people with this specific listening style need to be very careful for is they need to understand that not all people have these emotional connect and these emotions and ability and necessity to connect with others. So they need to understand that if other people don't react in that specific emotional manner, it doesn't mean that they do not have a heart or that they have a heart of stone. They should also not get frustrated when people ask questions because they want to go to the emotional side and they feel that questions will take them away from that. So just be careful and on the lookout for that. That was the relational listening style. So the second style we'll speak about is the analytical listening style. So this specific style wants to get to the core of the problem by taking a neutral stand. They want to look at all the different perspectives that come into play before they make up their mind and give in a specific opinion. So they are very valuable in situations where there isn't a clear answer, where there's a path to follow, where we are not sure where we are going. So the analytical people need to be careful of a few things as well. So when they ask all the analytical questions, they must be careful for the speed in which they do that. If they fire the questions too quickly, it may feel like gunfire questions, and that's just scaring in any kind of a meeting. Then they must also not show their frustration. They tend to become a little bit frustrated with discussions. So their body language, sighing, and whatever the case may be, they will show that. And that's one thing that they need to be careful of. It's always difficult for us to imagine that everyone else isn't reacting in the same way we would. So for the analytical person, they can actually not think that people don't think in the same way as they do. But the way to help others to think more like them is for them to ask questions. Another thing that they need to do is they need to highlight the different perspectives. Some people only have one stance about a situation, but they need to verbalize. So this one is feeling like this. It seems like that viewpoint comes from there, and that will really add value to discussions. So that was the analytical listening style. Now coming to the third one, the task-orientated listening style. That listening style you can identify quite quickly. They want to get to the result of a problem in the shortest possible time. They are the people that will say, you are wasting my time. Don't go around in circles. So they can get quite irritated if that's happening. Again, the value that they bring to the table is that they, especially when things are muddled up and you don't really know where the discussion could be going, and there's no real guidance in that regard, perhaps it's an unknown territory we are moving on, then you can ask that specific listening style, what tasks can we do? What are the things we can do now? And by saying that, you would then be able to get a little bit more clearer about the concepts, what is involved, where you can go, and how you can direct the discussion. They also need to be quite careful. They need to be careful not to so quickly want to get to the tasks that they do not allow enough time for reflection or discussion, because that is also a very valuable part of looking at things from different ways. Again, not showing their irritation, which can be very high. And they must also understand that people do not express themselves automatically so quickly as they do. So they must be able to help people. How? By asking questions. Then the last listening style with which we end now is the critical listening style. Now, a person with a critical listening style focus on two things. They focus on the content and they focus on the speaker. And any kind of inconsistency or discrepancy, they will pick up in a blink of a moment. So whenever there's a gap in logic, in an argument, they will immediately become aware of that. So people with this specific listening style, you want to take them when you are making a proposal, when you are going in a meeting where there's strategy involved, because you would like to see, you would need them help to build the arguments and see where the gaps are to complete that information. They also need to be careful. So what do they need to be careful of? They should be careful not to highlight the discrepancies to such a regard that it sounds like accusations. This can happen quite quickly, so they need to make sure of their tone of voice and the way in which that comes across. Then they should rather sometimes also focus on the middle ground, not only on the discrepancies. Otherwise, they would lose the rest of the people in the discussion. Again, not to our surprise, not show their frustration and irritability. So, to end off, enjoy this discovery of being aware of your listening style and being aware of what draws your attention when a message is given to you. And then you use that to serve others better. Thank you.